Namaskar, good evening, hello. Firstly, Merry Christmas to all of you. And as this year is coming to an end, so a very prosperous, happy, cheerful, and positive new year to all my friends, to all of you. So, we all know that this year has been a very difficult year for most of us, but all of us tried to make the best of what we could do. And with this hope that next year also we shall be bravely facing all the obstacles and come out victorious in the end. I thought, as this year is going to come to an end, so let me speak something about the subject which is most cherished to me, and it's a sort of research work of mine. I have been researching on this subject, Abhinay Yoga, for a very long time, and the research is still on. It seems that it is not going to end, as I'm not still able to come up with a complete philosophy of Abhinay Yoga, but a lot of things are being developed in workshops. I've been the workshops which I've been conducting, I have been interacting with students and those who attended, and I am developing it step by step. So for those who are perhaps listening to Abhinay Yoga first time, for a beginner or a newcomer, let me say a few words about this basic idea, basic concept called as Abhinay Yoga, which is a combination of acting skills and yogic techniques. Now, how this Abhinay Yoga came to me is itself a very long story, and it will take a lot of time if I start talking about it. But in brief, it came to me because I was a very serious practitioner of yoga and tantra, and I was involved into a lot of spiritual practices done by mostly sadhus and sannyasis. And I had realized that common people, they are completely unaware of such deep meditational practices. And most of the people who have learned it, they are very inhibited, and they do not teach it easily to the people for various reasons. One of the reasons being that the aspirant himself or herself is not very curious to know more about such spiritual practices of tantra and yoga. So because they are more into their earning money, living with their families, and revolving around successful life of their own material world, so they are not bothered also. But because there is misery, because there is pain, because there is conflict, because there are a lot of psychic problems, a lot of spiritual problems, a lot of anguishes, so they need to be tackled. I realized that through certain techniques of acting, and if it is given a yogic color of what in yogic terminology is called as pratyahar and dharana, this can become a healing system, a very simple healing system where you learn certain skills of acting, and you may not become a professional actor, but by learning the skills of acting, you develop certain skills of concentration, and you develop certain skills of channelization of emotions, because our emotional world is such a huge world, and it creates a lot of problems within us. All major happiness or unhappiness revolves around our emotional world only. And lately, all research scientists have come to this conclusion that our suppressed emotions are the real cause of many of our physical diseases. Or, in one line, the psychic disorders first take place, and then the physical disease takes place. So it's better to manage our psychic world in a very nice way. And there are so many systems people are learning all over the world. Abhinay Yoga has become or is becoming one such system where if certain techniques of Abhinay Yoga are applied, one's emotional world firstly can become better, and one's psychic world also can become better, which means psychologically one becomes more positive, and Abhinay Yoga can lead towards spiritual inclination. It is not the spiritual inclination is not in the beginning of the system of Abhinay Yoga, as it is with most of the other schools. There you begin with the spiritual thought itself, which is sometimes people accept it and sometimes people do not accept it because they are not so well trained with the spiritual ideas. So many people find it very difficult to adjust with the very first line of the spiritual philosophy. Here Abhinay Yoga deals with your body and mind. Abhinay Yoga begins with what is known to you. Abhinay Yoga begins with what you are, where you stand, your body, your mind, your intellect, and your emotions. This is how Abhinay Yoga begins the journey. There are so many salient features of Abhinay Yoga. Before going into the details of it, let me today talk about few principles which are like the guiding factors of the system of Abhinay Yoga. Because every system has a worldview, every system has an opinion. Whosoever follows a particular system develops a thinking, develops an outlook by which he or she manages himself and the world. It's very important to see the world from a particular point of view. Either you have some point of view or a worldview, or you do not have a worldview. If you do not have a worldview, then the worldview of someone else becomes your point of view. And if you are strong enough to have a worldview, if you have developed your thinking and your intellectual abilities to such an extent that you can now see the world from a different perspective, then it becomes easier for you to deal with the ups and downs of the world. So Abhinay Yoga deals in a very unique way. Firstly, it claims that the whole universe is a drama. There is a cosmic drama happening continuously, and you are an actor in this cosmic world. Now, this is not something new. This has been said earlier also. The very famous statement of Shakespeare, all the world is a stage and all men and women are merely players. And they have their entries and exits all the time. But Abhinay Yoga explains it to a bit detail so that a common man or a common individual understands what it means to be an actor on the world stage. So I would like to first explain this, how everyone is an actor on the world stage and how everyone is assigned a particular role. And there are so many roles assigned to an individual. And because of the clash of not understanding the roles which are different, one gets into anxiety, one attracts stress, one lives in conflict. Ultimately, one lives in pain and misery. I repeat this, the pain and misery of an individual most of the time is due to the inability to manage the different roles in a harmony. So firstly, what are these roles? Because when we talk of acting and when we talk of Abhinay, it means playing a role. So we talk of a bigger stage, a wider stage, and here we are being assigned few roles. Let us analyze step by step and slowly what these roles are. We come on this earth as a kid, as a child, as a baby. We do not know what has happened before our birth. And let's assume we do not know anything what is going to happen to us after our death. So our life exists between birth and death. So these are the two roles. First, the birth is a role. Then you are a child, infant. That's the second role. Then you become a teenager. It's a third role. And then you are a youth, a blooming young person. Then you become middle-aged. That is the fifth role. And then you are an old man, the sixth role, and then you die. Death is the last role. So everybody goes through these 7 stages or 7 roles. A baby is different, youth is different, middle-aged man is different, and an old man is different, and a dying man or a dead man is different. So these are broad 7 roles. Then we come to the other roles like roles in a family and roles in our professional world. Let's try to analyze, let's try to point out these roles. At one particular moment, one is a brother, a husband, a son, a friend, a professional, a neighbor, a citizen, sometimes a client, sometimes a customer. And there are so many roles. So if you start pondering on what I'm saying, start pondering on this subject like this, that here I am, like my name is Lalit, so I can point out these. Lalit professional is one, Lalit husband is another, that's two, Lalit son is third role, Lalit brother is fourth role, Lalit friend is another sixth role, and Lalit neighbor is seventh role, Lalit citizen is eighth rule, and you can go on extending these rules and see the difference between Lalit 1 and Lalit 5 and Lalit 10. And then you are sometimes an uncle, sometimes an aunt, and so many relations which you have. You are a nephew also, you are uncle also. And in your professional world, sometimes you are being liked by someone, sometimes you are being disliked by someone. You are a boss, you are a junior. So these are all roles. If you start thinking of these particular roles as separate roles, as separate entities, and classify them. For classification, you need to do one thing. Abhinay Yoga tells you to make a photograph of that particular role. We are living in the world of photographs and videos. So we have huge collection. So collect these photographs in a different way. Son is this picture. Husband is this picture. Brother is this picture. A professional is this picture. See those pictures and classify them differently. You will find huge difference. You will not mix up the two roles. These are all external roles. Now let's get into the psyche of our own inner world. So inner world is a huge world, and there are so many feelings, so many thought patterns, so many ideas, so many sensations, and so much is inside that if you start traveling inside and thinking about your inner world, you will collect a beautiful film. So talking about the roles, so let's classify the roles which happen inside. Sometimes you're angry, sometimes you're playful, sometimes you're romantic, sometimes you're fearful, sometimes you're hateful, sometimes you're jealous, sometimes you're over possessive, sometimes you're full of pride, sometimes you're filled with delight, sometimes you're romantic and sometimes sexual. So all of them, sometimes you're worried, sometimes frustrated, sometimes depressed, sometimes disgusted, and sometimes filled with awe, sometimes filled with happiness, sometimes with pain and misery, and so on and so forth. So one again here, the inner world is a huge world, and an aspirant of Abhinay Yoga would classify all these roles and see the pictures. I lay a lot of emphasis on the photograph part. See the angry you and see the lover you. The angry Lalit doesn't know the lover Lalit. This is how it is. It is a different role. The friend Lalit doesn't know the painful Lalit, the Lalit in pain. They are two different roles. So, first thing, the first principle, or one of the first initial principles of Abhinay Yoga is try to understand the different roles which you play unknowingly. Become aware of it. Classify it nicely in the form of a photograph. We collect photographs of different people from childhood when we are fans. Now, Abhinay Yoga says that start loving yourself. Think more about yourself because you are everything for you. So make photographs of these different moods, different emotions, and different feelings. And whenever you experience them, talk to yourself that here was the angry Lalit, and here was the lover Lalit. Here was the friend Lalit, and here was the unhappy Lalit. And make a note of it. Make a note of it that when you get angry, when you get fearful, when you get painful, when you are miserable, when you are depressed, make a note of it. I'll talk about it a little later, how to make note of it, how to observe your inner world in a very scientific and a very rational way so that you have a proper inner alchemy of yourself. That's more important for an Abhinay yogi. You must know more and more about yourself. See, the spiritual philosophy tells you who you are by saying that you are consciousness and you are pure Atman and all that. Most of us are not connected with that. What we are connected with, let us know about that. Let us talk about that, what we are connected with. Let us talk about the ground reality. It's not that the ground reality is only negative. There are a lot of positive feelings also. So there are a lot of good part also within you. So note that, feel that. There is a smiling Lalit, there is a laughing Lalit also. So classify this laughing person with happy person and with unhappy person, and classify it in a very nice way, so that you have slowly, you have images of yourself which would be, perhaps if you count them, it will come to between 50 and 100. I won't be surprised if you find that there are 50 people living within you. Now, this should be a very new sensation for you. That, see, there's a crowd living within me. And this crowd creates an anarchy. All our troubles are due to the anarchy created by this crowd living within us. So we have to do this crowd management. And that's what Abhinay Yoga talks about. First, know who you are step by step, the way your inner world functions along with the external world. So because you are an actor on the world stage, you are a part of a huge cosmic drama that is being enacted by a supreme actor. So for Abhinay Yoga, one who has created this universal, this cosmic drama can be called as the supreme actor. This supreme actor is the cause of the universe. Right now, we must understand this much only about the supreme actor. There is no need to understand the attributes of the supreme actor. I am a small actor and there is a supreme actor who has created this universe. And I am a part of this supreme actor. This much I should know, this much I should be aware of, and this much is enough for me to live as an actor of this cosmic drama. So first I said about there's so many roles which you play. And then I told you about the supreme actor who is the cause of this world drama. Then the journey of us, the journey of an actor, the journey of a cosmic actor is composed of scenes. And I am the seer. Now here perhaps something interesting has been said. Because we are dealing with Abhinay part also in Abhinay Yoga, and we are making this as a yoga. So we try to see the daily existence in the form of scenes. Scenes, I mean, drishya, which actually is. Because Abhinay Yoga is a part of drama, it's a part of, you can call it film also, and drama and films are composed of scenes. And scenes are composed of sub-scenes, smaller scenes. So try to observe your life as a series of so many scenes. You get up in the morning, it's a scene. You go to the bathroom, see that as a scene, it's a shot. Now because everybody is aware of the camera today, you can see it in a very different way. The whole existence can be seen as a drama. If you divide the whole day, which is happening continuously, although it is happening continuously, but it can be broken down in fragments. It can be broken down in the form of scenes. So see the first scene happening in the bathroom. See the second scene happening in the kitchen, you going to make a cup of tea. See the third scene happening in the hall. See the fourth scene happening in the bedroom, you're changing of clothes. See the fifth scene happening, you going into the car. Sixth scene, the car is moving on the streets. Now, if you have a little understanding of drama or film, you will start enjoying it. That is why in Abhinay Yoga, the first part of Abhinay Yoga is training of an actor. One gets a little training of an actor where all elements of drama and film are taught. So one is now a little connected with the elements of drama and film. So if one tries, one makes little efforts, one can see the whole day scene. The car is moving on the streets. It's moving from one area to another area and reaches a destination. You close the car, you step down, you move to a shop, or you move to an office. See, the office is another scene. And there are different people there. And there are different roles you play when you were moving from the house, saying goodbye to your wife. There was a one role which was being played. Maybe you can call it husband and the son also, because maybe mother is also there, or a kid is there. So you are simultaneously playing a role of a husband, a father, and a son. See how beautiful it is. The whole thing is just drama. In in one scene, you're saying bye bye to three people: to your wife as a husband, to your mother as a son, to your kid as a father. So you're three in one. And try to make it harmonious. And then you go to the office. Office, you've got colleagues, friends, juniors and seniors. Suddenly there is a gear change. There's a change in the entire environment and entire thought waves. Now a new group of new group of you start functioning. There also the interrelationships start happening. So what I mean to say by this, the third part, which I said, that the whole journey is divided into scenes. And if you start watching these scenes, you will come to know that there is a seer within you. That there is somebody who sees. This is the interesting part. And here the yogic process begins. You are on one hand getting involved in the scenes, but at the same time, you're watching these scenes. If you make a habit of watching these scenes, you will come to know that there is a seer, because otherwise, how will you remember it? How will memory retain it? Because there is somebody who watches these scenes. And to know this seer, who is the watchman within you, this knowing has to be done consciously. This is one of the major principles of Abhinay Yoga. Abhinay Yoga wants you to understand life as a series of scenes, a series of role playing, continuously happening. And then try to get acquainted with the witnessing entity, the watchman within you, the seer, one who is able to see the seer, one who is able to see the scene. If even once you are able to see a particular scene properly, which means the entire, in films there is a terminology used as mise-en-scene. What is a mise-en-scene? This mise-en-scene is being artificially created by director. How does he create a scene? By first picking up a location, and that location is being beautified with the help of an art director. It is lit by a cameraman, and there is a sound person, and then there are actors, there's a script. So this is how a mise-en-scene happens. Apply this principle of mise-en-scene in your real life. There is already a stage, there is already a location, already art direction has happened, whether it is your house, whether it is your society, whether it's your street, or whether it is your office, or whether it's your friend's office, friend's house, or whatever location, wherever you go and wherever you travel, wherever you meet people, wherever you interact with others, or even if you're all alone inside your car or walking. Make a habit of dividing it into scenes and try to get acquainted with the seer within. Now, this is not something again phenomenal, and this is not something absolutely new. The methodology is new, but this is the whole yogic process. In yoga, this is termed as dharana. It comes after pratyahar, the 8 limbs of yoga, 2 yam and niyam, 3rd asana, 4th pranayam. Then 5th is pratyahar, which means withdrawing from the external world. And then dharana is focusing and concentrating on a particular object. That is what dharana is. And dhyan is a deep concentration. So here, applying the skills of acting, applying the skills of drama, if we see every day as a series of scenes, we are trying to put dharana into practice. Now here, I would like to add how to apply it more efficiently. How can we see our daily life as a vast canvas of scenes. So here a technique has been evolved, which I call as action and cut. Action and cut is generally used in shooting world, where whenever actors have to say their dialogues and camera is rolled and sound is rolled, we say action, and then when the shot is over, it's called as cut. So whatever happens between action and cut is being recorded with sound and camera. That's how the technique is. So applying this in real life is one of the methodology of action and cut. So whatever you are doing in your 24 hours, try to apply this action and cut procedure. So what do we need for it? We need an imaginary camera. We have to place that camera anywhere, wherever we want. Today everybody is camera friendly. Today's world is actually the world of actors, not professional actors. I'm talking of ordinary life. Everybody is becoming an actor day by day because of the love for one's own image, because of expressing too much or trying to express more and more. So slowly we are imitating the acting skills of basically well-known actors or otherwise also. But in a way, the element of narcissism has developed more in this phase of existence. So because narcissism is directly connected with the art or craft of acting, so there is a bit of narcissism, there is a bit of narcissist in every individual now because of the love for our own images. Otherwise, why do we show our photographs to people? Why do we show our videos to people? Why do we interact with photographs and why do we interact with videos? So there is so much of communication through videos now that we are constantly bombarding images from one person to another person. So image worshipping is being now increased. So apply this to yourself. Love your image. Love your roles. Like your roles. And then apply this procedure of action and cut daily. Now what you have to do is, as I said just a few minutes back, imagine a camera that's following you. Now place that camera anywhere. If you're traveling in a car, place it inside the car or place it outside the car on the bonnet. And then keep on visualizing the images that camera is taking. It's an imaginary exercise, but try to do it. You will see that firstly, you will remain more focused on the work which you are doing. Because this imaginary camera will give you more alertness to the work which you are doing. You may not inwardly run away somewhere else, which generally happens with most of us. We lose the link, we lose the thread with the present moment, and we either move in past or in future. But if you have an imaginary camera there along with you, either traveling with you, walking with you, or there on the car, see, why this imaginary camera? If ever you have observed actors working in front of camera, what happens? The moment camera is there, or even when you act on stage, what happens? You become a little more aware of yourself because you become a performer. You become more alert. You become conscious of yourself, not in a very negative sense, but conscious means you become the seer. You see yourself. You see now, if you have to pick up a small thing like you have to pick up this, you will slowly pick up this. Otherwise, in your real life, you will mechanically pick up this and throw it. Or you drink a glass of water, you mechanically pick up a bottle and drink. So, but the moment you have to do it in front of camera, you do it very slowly, you do it very consciously because you know that people are watching, and if you slow down the whole process of all your activities, the impact will be better. So this is the benefit of having an imaginary camera in front of you all the time. And when you are all alone in your house, whenever you have free time, use this imaginary camera in all the ways you can. All the ways means camera has different, through camera, we take different shots. So take a long shot, take a mid shot, take a close-up, or take a close-up of a hand, or close up of your lips, or close up of your ear, and feel the sensation. Feel the sensation of only having a close up of your face. Feel it. While walking, while talking, while in a meeting. So that imaginary camera becomes a very interesting friend of yours. So if you're able to have it 24 hours in front of you, wherever you go, whatever you do, you will see that everything of yours will become known to you. Whatever you do, you will be able to see it. What I said just a few minutes back, the seer will become more sharp. It's not easy. It's not that the seer within you will develop quickly. It takes years and years of practice. But here is a new method, and it's a very creative method. It's a very interesting method, and it is connected with modern times. It would not have been used 500 years back because there was no camera at that time. There was no idea of clicking your own photographs at that time. So because we are in this time where we do have so much of facilities that we can use it. But the only thing is, try not to get engrossed in the scene so much that you lose the thread of seeing yourself. If you continuously see yourself, then what will happen? Slowly and slowly you will become integrated inside or crystallized inside. The whole idea of yogic training is to become one. The crowd of 50, the crowd of 70 within you has to become one. The oneness within can be achieved. There is a possibility. I'm not saying there is a guarantee. It is not easy because whenever you are in a scene, you flow with the scene in real life. There are less chances that you will remain so alert that you will be watching yourself. But with a new methodology of action and cut and the use of imaginary camera, you can watch yourself most of the time. You may lose the thread of it, but again, struggle again, try again, make an effort, and see that you're always watching yourself. There is somebody who is watching you, and that is a camera. And playfully, you can have different shots. So whenever, for example, I'm in a room here, I can have a close-up, I can have a long shot. The moment I have a long shot, I can see the larger picture. Now, it is an interesting practice of dharana. I can see bed, I can see the bookshelf, I can see the wall, I can see the curtain, I can see a stand, I see mobile, I see myself. Now everything is being seen, everything is being observed because of this imaginary camera. Even if you try it in a middle of the street, try it and see the experience. Try it when you have nothing else to do. Try it when you do not have to go anywhere. Try it when you do not have to rush to an office or a meeting. Now, most of us are working from home, so you can try it. Go to a street, just see a street and put an imaginary camera and have a long shot, and then suddenly see yourself along with the street, along with the shops, along with the skyline, along with few trees, and see what happens. You will feel light, firstly. The unnecessary thoughts will go away. And you will enjoy that moment. You will enjoy that moment. And that is what the craft of acting gives the pleasure. You remain in that moment. You remain in those 5 minutes. You remain concentrated in those 5 minutes or 10 minutes. That's why people love to act. There's a different aspect of acting which is connected with name and fame and earning money. But the real aspect of acting is this, that you remain so concentrated, you enjoy the speaking of lines in a particular way written by a writer, and there is an interaction, there are 2 people, 3 people, and there are people watching, performance happens, and you are so engrossed in the job which you are doing that you move to a subtler world, the world of aesthetics, and which gives you a pleasure, aesthetic pleasure. Same can be attained in real life, considering the whole world as a stage and trying at every moment, every half an hour, every 1 hour, every 2 hours, or during your relaxed period, try this method of imaginary camera which is watching you all the time, and see that your inner monologues, unnecessary monologues, will come to an end. You will see the physical world with such intensity, with such concentration, that you will become highly relaxed, first of all, and then maybe something can happen that you become one with the entire place. This oneness will give you delight. This oneness will give you a higher kind of happiness. This will happen more if you are in a natural surrounding. If you are somewhere in hills, surrounded by flowers, surrounded by a beautiful sky, color of clouds and the color of greenery and all, if you apply this technique there, the concentration can happen quickly in natural surroundings. So even in a big city, one must make efforts to sit and observe oneself with an imaginary camera in front of a natural surrounding, or in front of sunrise or sunset or full moon or a seaside or a riverside or some nice green place, because that atmosphere already helps you in relaxing your mind and giving you a sense of peace to some extent. And then if you observe carefully for some time, there is a possibility that after a lot of practice, you will attain what I just explained. A kind of oneness happens, and that lifts you from the drudgery of mechanical existence or the boredom of monotonous life. That lifts you up. Even you have tasted it once for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you will not remain the same person again after that. You would like to crave for it more and more. You will work hard for it more and more. And once you have tasted something, this is something divine. Once you have tasted something divine, then you would like to have more and more of it. So this is today's topic. This is one part of it which I said. The another part which I would like to talk about is connected with what I earlier said, the Ras. Rasa theory is an integral part of Indian arts and aesthetics, and those who are artists, they know that the 9 rasas are the important rasas, and all arts are connected with it. The aim of all art is to reproduce these rasas: Shangar, Karun, Hasya, Veer, Raudra, Adbhut, Bhayanak, Vibhats and Shant. These 9 rasas are the repository of aesthetic world. And in Abhinay Yoga, we have, our research is that everybody has a particular ras as a predominant ras. See, again, it's something interesting. Rasas are initially, firstly, we create rasas through arts, music, dance, drama, painting, everything. Now here we are analyzing an individual. We are trying to study an individual through the angle of these rasas. So what I said is, every individual has one particular ras as a predominant one. And it could be 2 or 3. I mean, everybody has only one, is not necessary. Someone may have 2 rasas, predominant ones, or someone may have 3. And at the same time, someone has a particular ras as suppressed ras. Now those who are watching today, they can analyze themselves from these rasas point of view. I repeat, those who are completely unaware of the world of rasas, they should know it, that what these rasas actually mean. I will briefly just go through it. The very first ras is called as Shangar ras, and this Shangar ras is actually the resultant of man and woman's love, romance. The love and romance of a man and a woman leads to or gives us a feeling which is called as Shangar ras. All our Indian cinema or even Hollywood cinema or dramas, they have depicted this Shangar ras in a nice way. Now, in detail, the Rasa theory is so detailed that there are various sub-parts to it. That there is a Viyog, there is Sanyog, there is Virah, there is Milan, that separation, the longing and then meeting, all that is there. But briefly, For somebody who is a layman, who is a man of science perhaps, who is not man from the arts, he should understand that Shrangar Ras deals with the love of man and a woman. Love, separation, longing, everything which is connected with. But Shrangar is positive in feeling. Shrangar is not the only, it's not, the separation part is not purely Shrangar. It is a part of Shrangar, but mainly the feeling of ecstasy, the feeling of, it's a high. All that kuch kuch hota hai types in Indian cinema, all that is connected with Shrangar. So we all know what it is. The craving for it is also there. That's why, because there is craving, that's why the romantic cinemas work. Otherwise, they would not have worked. The second Ras is Karun Ras, which deals with the pain and the misery which one experiences in one life. The pain or misery could be due to anything. It could be the breaking of a relationship. It could be loss of money. It could be there are so many other factors which are connected with the reproduction of Karun Ras. The third one is Hasya Ras. It deals with sense of humor, and it's very simple to understand. Veer Ras deals with sense of courage. Raudra Ras is anger. Adbhut Ras deals with sense of surprise, wonder at every level, at various levels. It's also at bigger level, at universal level, and it is also at man-to-man level, individual level, family level. It is also at the level of arts. When you see great dancers performing, great artists performing, it gives you a sense of wonder. That's Adbhut Ras. And then Bhayanak Ras, which deals with the sense of fear. Then Vibhats Ras, it's connected with the feelings of hate, jealousy, sadism, everything that is negative. In drama, we have villains, so anything that is connected with villainy is Vibhats Ras. And then ultimately the Shant Ras, which gives you the sense of benediction, sense of peace, and a sense of equanimity. So arts have a duty to create these rasas. But from where have these rasas come? They have come from the experience. We human beings experience in our real lives first. And then later on in the period of history, artists tried to depict it consciously in a particular form of art. Now what Abhinay Yoga claims and what Abhinay Yoga research says, that there is a particular ras or there is a combination of 2 or 3 rasas which is predominant in an individual. Now try to know that. Somebody is anger prone. The Raudra Ras predominance is there. Or somebody is Karun Ras prone. The Karun Ras predominance is there. So even in drama, when you understand a drama, there is, in Natyashastra, there is called as something Sthai Bhav. Every scene has a Sthai Bhav, a permanent Bhav. So the permanent Bhav could be Shrangar Ras, but there are Asthai Bhav also, temporary Bhavs like anger, like surprise, like fear. Because a Naika can be fearful but in love. So there is a feeling of fear, but at the same time, there is Sthai Bhav of Shrangar. So this is how drama has been doing it. Now, I am trying to apply it to individuals and try to study their inner world. Our inner world is such a huge world that it needs to be understood and studied so that we become better human beings, so that we are able to understand ourselves. Most of the people are completely unaware of themselves and they try to find happiness in a very opposite way, which is not suiting to their personality. So we are trying to understand a personality. Only then we can try to find a solution for a particular disorder. In my opinion, all psychologists, all psychiatrists are not moving on the correct way because they are not understanding the type of personalities in a very right way. Their understanding of personality is at a very superficial level. A person from inside could be very angry, but outwardly a gentle man. There is a possibility. So there is a suppressed feeling. So in such a person, suppose a person who is inside very angry, Raudras predominant is there, but because of fear, his Raudras doesn't get expressed. So his fear is first ras. The sthai bhav is fear. But the suppressed ras is Raudra. So he needs to be treated with a combination of fear and anger. I hope I'm making myself clear. Now he needs to be treated means what? It's a big thing now. Because of overabundance of anger inside, along with fear, his anger is not getting expressed. That is why there are a lot of psychic problems with that particular person. Because anger is remaining subsided, fear is getting expressed all the time. All his actions are guided by fear, but there is a lot of anger inside and he's not able to express that anger. So what is an Abhinay Yoga workshop going to do that person? Abhinay Yoga workshop is going to help him to release that suppressed feeling of anger. So, in the exercises in a workshop, that person will be given the monologues of anger, and he needs to be understood, the student, that this anger is towards whom? Now, most of the people are not so open to talk about their negative emotions, but by and by, we are reaching a stage in our human evolution that there is no harm in talking about our negative world. If we want to heal ourselves, we have to manage it in a different way because the times are different now. The world has become different now. It is not the same world which existed 500 years back or 1000 years back. There the approach was different. There the approach was do not talk about your negativity. Shubh Shubh Bolo was the mantra because the life was different. Now here the life is different. If we do not express ourselves, we might become mad. We might end up living in a mental asylum. Expressions of our inner world is a necessity. And Abhinay Yoga is a method which will give you an opportunity, an outlet to express what is suppressed and what is troubling you. So, considering this case that here a person who is suffering from anger suppression and he is not able to release that anger. Mark my words, if the anger is not released, many of our physical diseases are going to happen to that person sooner or later. So slowly in a Abhinay Yoga workshop, one will learn how to express the anger and one has to be very honest and confess that this anger is due to what and due to whom. Most of the time, this feeling or all our negative feelings are due to a particular close relation. Mostly because of father, because of mother, because of wife, because of children. Sometimes because of another community. Sometimes because of the government. And sometimes because of the God. That's something very rare, that's the last thing. But all our negative emotions are because of a particular relationship. The unhappy relationship creates wounds. And because we still, the middle class community lives with such feelings that we are not supposed to hurt the other person, so we try to suppress those negative feelings, but those suppressions do not work. We create a wound inside our mind, and slowly, if this wound is not healed, it will become bigger and bigger, and then it creates a permanent trouble. And this is the reason why most of the people try to find refuge or solace in drinks. This is a simple reason. Why at the end of the day people have to drink? Because they are not able to manage the inner wounds. Or at the most they look for some better food, they look for some better physical pleasure, they change their partners, they try to eat well and try to say to themselves that they are happy. But inside, the wound, if it is not healed properly, it will never go away. And you will always attract the same problem through someone else. Because suppose you have a problem with your father. Suppose we take the case of a youngster who is 25 or 30 years old, and he has a problem with his father who made him do a particular course or particular training without his interest. He wanted to become maybe a poet, but he was forced to do medicine and he left that medical world. And today he's nowhere, struggling, doing odd jobs here and there. But the family is such that he cannot openly shout on his father or go against his father. I've seen many such students. I've seen many such youngsters as my students. I don't want to name anyone, but there was one student who had this problem. I suggested him that you make a short film on your father. And he did that. He named that film called as Butcher. And when he showed to his father, the butcher, the father was shocked. He didn't knew that he was a butcher in his life and the life of his son. Because son is feeling that his father has butchered his life just for his own whims and wishes. So that pain, that anguish, that wound will not go so easily. And even later on, this son who is full of hate for his father, he will always attract father figures. This is a very interesting part. Because you look for surrogate relations. You look for who is a guru, a teacher, or in your field or in any field, a senior person. You are in your 30s or you're in your 20s. You will look for somebody in your 50s who are in the same field and would like to get inspired by that person. So he becomes a father figure. Because you have problems with your father, you are bound to look for father figures. Because you have a problem with your mother, you're bound to get attracted to mother figures. This is how it happens. Because the nature is such that you crave for only that which is not existing. But again, I would like to tell you, if you do not sort out with your real father, if you do not sort out with your real mother, you do not sort out with your real brother, real wife, real kids, all these surrogate relations, they do not help in the long run. So important is to sort out with the real in the real relation. That is actual hard task. That is where it's very easy to say forgive and forget. It's not so easy to practice this forgive and forget. You have to actually forgive your father. You have to actually forget the wounds. But it will take a huge journey. You have to go through a huge journey because your life is at stake. You have become split. You wanted to become a poet. You ended up becoming a failed doctor. You are neither a doctor nor a poet. Ultimately, you become a contractor. You become a building contractor. You're trying to build. You become a builder. This is how it happens. This is what happens to many people, and the real pain remains there, and it never gets solved. So, in brief, what I want to say through Abhinay Yoga, I always say through Abhinay Yoga, we try to catch the bull by its horns. If you directly deal with the problems which are troubling you, one day you are going to solve it. There is no looking back. You will solve it, only you have to face it squarely. But we need to be a little more strong to face our problems squarely. We need to be very, very honest, die-hard honest. We have to be very straightforward and very honest in our own understanding of ourselves and not escape from the problems. So, now coming back to the theory of Ras and its application. So, what is the treatment given in Abhinay Yoga therapy? The treatment is that you have to reproduce that Ras off and on continuously through a monologue or a scene. You have trouble with your father or with your mother, with your brother, and the trouble is and the trouble has given you a particular Ras which is predominant, maybe Raudras or fear. Sometimes there is no Raudra, it's only fear. And sometimes it is Karun, which means misery. So through the craft of acting, one can try to bring out all that wound which is inside. So in Abhinay Yoga workshops, what we try to do is, with the help of scenes, mock scenes, with the help of monologues, an aspirant has to first learn the craft of acting. Without learning the craft of acting, you can never reproduce these rasas. It's very difficult. So you have to learn the skills of an actor. That's why Abhinay Yoga is a combination of acting techniques and acting skills and yogic techniques. So when you learn the skills of an actor, which is understanding of your body, training your voice, and understanding your emotions, and then develop the ability to reproduce these emotions, The reproduction of these emotions is not an easy task. This is the task of an actor. That's why actor has got a skill, which is not everybody's skill, but everyone can learn this skill. It's not beyond anyone's capacity. Only thing is one has to be a little more disciplined and one has to apply one's mind while learning this craft. It may take 3 months or 6 months to learn the basic elements, because if you have already, there is anger so much, if you have already pain so much, that emotion can be easily expressed because you are filled with that. And there are a certain number of days when you are more of that particular emotion, when you have more of that anger on a particular day, more of that pain or misery on that particular day. And if you practice on that particular day, the emotions will come out quickly and easily. You do not have to make extra effort. So now what is required here? I am saying so many things in one lecture. What is required here? To maintain a biorhythm chart is another aspect of training of an Abhinay Yoga. So what is this biorhythm chart? I say, and wise people also say, that in our inner world is a repetition of what happens in 15 days of a lunar calendar. So if you anytime make an effort of observing your inner emotions with the lunar calendar from 1st to 15th, or from Prathama to Purnima, or from Purnima to back to Amavasya, these days, 15 days, make a chart of 15 days of your emotions. You will find a pattern. That is, on the 6th day, perhaps you will be very frustrated or angry, and whichever emotion predominates you, that will come up automatically. You will not know how mechanically you are made, how our inner chemistry, inner world is so mechanized. You will be surprised that on the every 6th day, the anger shoots up, or on every 11th day, the pain comes up. So out of 15 days, you will find 3 or 4 days are very ghastly. They are very demoniac. They are filled with Asur Shakti. And 3 or 4 days are filled with Deva Shakti. You will be surprised to realize it. So point out those days. You will have to point out those days when you are predominantly very Asuri, very filled with negativity. And if you try to enact this negativity in the form of a scene or a monologue, or if you try to do it on that day, it will come out easily. But nature has made you such that you will start thinking against that particular person who is the cause of that negativity. It might be your wife, it might be your father, it might be your neighbor, it might be your community, it might be some nation, it might be anything. But it is bound to occur like that. So do not get bothered about the other. Bother about the emotion within, because that is the root cause. That is what is going to trouble you. So make a note of it. So what you have to do is be more alert on those days. Be more observant on those days. Apply more Abhinay Yoga techniques on those days. Apply the technique of the witnessing more on those days, so that if you watch those emotions so clearly from a bird's point of view, you don't have to emote also then. The beauty is that by watching, they will vanish away. So this watchman, if this watchman within you, this seer within you is developed to such an extent that you watch it from a distance and you will see that a scene comes, the entire scene comes, you might kill the other person and you might even take that person to Shamshan Ghat and you bury that person and the whole scene is over and now you move on to some other scene inside and you're fine with that. You will see that. But if you do not see that get involved, you will start talking about the person, you will start abusing, you will start hating, you will start uttering those lines inside and you do not know what is happening to you. You are just carried away for those 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So if you are not able to develop the seer within you, then develop the actor and try to emote it. After learning the skills of an actor in a Abhinay Yoga workshop, you try to speak, try to utter those negative emotions all alone, somewhere near a tree, somewhere near a river, or somewhere in an open space where nobody watches you. It might look as an act of madness, but let it be, because it is a madness. So you have to just throw it out from your system. You just have to throw it out. If you do not throw it out, you might think that I have taken it away, I have gone beyond it, but it is not so. It remains there. Unless and until it is watched, either you develop that watchman technique, which is watching it, you will find like you are inside, you're like a sky, and the clouds are like the scenes. The scene is like a cloud. It comes and it envelops you for some time and then goes away. This is how it happens. That is the ultimate way. And the most ultimate way is the experience of bliss, the experience of samadhi, which is the ultimate aim of all yogic and tantric practices. Because in that wave of bliss, all these negativities, they get dissolved. But that's a very far thing for most of us. It's not so easy to attain the experience of samadhi and get these rakshasas or these demons drown in that pool of samadhi. Actually, this is what happens. Or some of the rakshasas, some of the negative forces, they get drowned. Still, some will remain there, or the seed will remain there and they will sprout again and again. So, whole human existence is actually nothing but the struggle against the negative forces. The more you struggle, the better you become. The more you struggle, the more evolved you become. This is what Abhinay Yoga also tries to teach the aspirants. And here, as I said, the methodology is different. First, acting skills are to be learned, and then you have to apply it, and then you have to be brave enough, face your inner world. You have to be open enough and honest enough to accept all the negativities within. Only then you will be able to solve. Only then you will be able to come to a conclusion or find a solution. And the struggle is, because there are monologues, because there are scenes, the struggle is dramatic. The struggle is with the help of drama, so it is a dramatic struggle, and you might get creative happiness also. Because all arts, since 5,000 years, 7,000 years, the aim of art is to get a therapeutic effect. The aim of the art is to attain or experience the aesthetic delight, which is a healing process. So these are the few features of Abhinay Yoga which I discussed today. There are many more, and in order to just inform those who are watching it and listening to it, in the coming year, that's 2021, I'm planning to have a 3-day Abhinay Yoga workshop on 15th, 16th and 17th January of 2 hours, 1 day. And those of you and anyone who is interested is most welcome. We would like to explore, experiment, and see how far Abhinay Yoga is successful in bringing a new wave of thinking, new wave of therapy, new wave of healing, or new wave of evolving human beings. The aim is noble. Actually, acting work is itself a noble task. And in next lecture, I would like to talk about how acting is a psycho-spiritual activity. How the whole process of acting is a beautiful work of art which leads towards the sublime world. Because the whole process is a very yogic process, in the sense that our body is used, our voice is used, our emotions are used, our thinking faculty, the intelligence is also used. In one direction, everything moves and everything goes, and that results in a higher concentration. And so generally actors have this higher concentration, good actors definitely. But the entire work of an actor, when it is directed towards earning money, you start compromising on your concentration part. I always believe that actors can become more spiritualist if they channelize their energy towards spiritual goal. But if the whole energy is channelized only towards earning money, name and fame, and winning more women and winning more men, having more affairs, then they are actually wasting what I can say that the gift of God is getting wasted. Actually, it's not only with actors, it's with all fine artists, whether they are musicians or painters or dancers or singers, because they also have the gifts of the devatas. The only thing is they have to channelize it more and more towards sublimity, not towards earning money only. If you just become a money earning entity, then all your talent and all your gifts will one day be exhausted and you will remain what you were earlier. So, this is how I think, this is how I believe, and I hope most of you have liked it. I'm grateful to all of you who have been here watching this video. I'll come up again, and I would like to remind those who are watching it that on 15th, 16th, 17th January we are having a workshop on Abhinay Yoga. I'll again come up with a video next time announcing these 3 dates. So you're most welcome. Please join and see. There is fun, creativity, and there's learning. Thanks for being with me, and a very happy New Year to all of you. Let's pray that this New Year comes up with more promises and makes our life more glorious. And as there are so many obstacles, let's cross these obstacles very strongly and come up more courageous and have more strength in ourselves. Thank you, and goodbye, and namaskar to all of you.